Welcome to ComSpark. Today we are in Cincinnati, Ohio. My name is Mike Broering, and I will be your guest host today. I would like to welcome our guest, Sarah Trimble Oliver, Chief Information Officer for Cincinnati Public Schools. Sarah, I was thinking about mobile applications, and it seems like we have a mobile application for almost every facet of our lives. As a senior IT leader, what are your challenges choosing the right application for your organization's use?
So this is an interesting question because the explosion of mobile technology in our personal lives has really changed expectations for the use of mobile apps at work.
Yeah.
So it can really be a challenge getting our employees to understand that just because an app is great for personal use, that may or may not translate to a good use for business.
Yeah.
So to use an example from my industry in education, as a parent, you may choose to use a free educational app for your child.
Yeah.
But as a teacher, you have a different level of responsibility in choosing to do that with an entire class. So, for example, does that app vendor allow an educational institution to use the app through the same terms of service as you do for a personal consumer? Right. Does the app vendor have a good privacy policy to keep student data safe? So we really want our employees to get approval before using new apps in the workplace so that these things can be considered. But at the same time, we're also working towards being able to provide a more consumer-like experience for IT at work.
Sure. Is it hard because again, it's really becoming more and more difficult to figure out where the delineation of where the work life starts or ends and where the personal life comes in, and probably no place more than on the mobile phone.
Yeah, you're right. It's very hard to delineate. So, IT organizations have to examine the old ways of doing business, and they have to ask the hard questions like, do we allow employees their choice of personal productivity tools, for example? Right. Do we really have to vet those?
Yeah.
But then there definitely are some business applications that have to go through the normal security
Sure.
vets as they always have been.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you. So, as an IT leader and kind of thinking about organization and governments, in your organization, how do you work with leadership from other functional areas to collaborate and move projects forward?
So, as an IT leader, I not only have to know the areas of IT, but I really have to know my industry and my organization. So in the education industry, I have to know all I can about teaching and learning.
Right.
So I get out into the schools and into the classrooms and see kind of the firsthand, what my organization does at its core firsthand on a regular basis. I also think it's important to proactively forge relationships with those other leaders in those other business areas to try to understand their business areas, because that's how you really jointly build the vision of what could be possible as far as technology enabling the business.
Yeah, I think that's important, and I know that obviously in a school environment, it really is what is the ultimate user experience for the student or the teacher or that administrator, and I think as you kind of formulate projects, it's with those sort of desired outcomes in mind.
Yeah. In our industry, there's been a new marriage of the technology and the curriculum groups.
Yeah.
They hadn't been working so closely together until the most recent years, but it's absolutely critical, and it takes time and effort. If it's groups that aren't used to working together
Right.
on a regular basis, it takes a lot of time and effort, but it's really important.
Great, thank you. I'd like to, you had mentioned cybersecurity, and as we were talking about the mobile applications and sort of the vetting, in terms of what those applications touch and how they process data. When you think of cybersecurity, how is it communicated in your enterprise?
So in our enterprise, over the past probably 2 years, we have really made a concerted effort to cybersecurity awareness for our employees. Kind of prior to that, it was really just a once a year acceptable use policy. Maybe a few email reminders about phishing, but we really made a concerted effort. So Every year, our employees have to take an interactive online training, including a quiz. And for our groups that handle our most sensitive data, we have face-to-face communications and training, such as at their departmental staff meetings. We also have security curriculum for our students. So starting at kindergarten, every year our kids get, age-appropriate security curriculum. So not only are we starting them early on the cybersecurity awareness, but our teachers who are delivering that curriculum also get another dose of the security.
Yeah. No, that's great, because again, as we think about the economy moving in the future and preparing these kids, it's an information-driven economy, and so understanding and having that security DNA really as a foundational element is just so important.
Yeah, it's a big shift. But if you think about, the education industry's job is preparing kids to be successful when they leave us after high school, cybersecurity is a big part of that.
Absolutely. Kind of shifting from cybersecurity, another big topic is data and analytics, and there's just a proliferation of data that is really coming at us, nonstop. In terms of within your organization, has data and analytics surfaced as an important initiative as you look to, moving the school district forward?
Yeah, it definitely has. We've identified data and analytics as an area for great opportunity for our organization. Last year, we engaged Gartner to do an analytics maturity assessment for our organization, and they found that we had great pockets of analytic capabilities, but it wasn't systemic, and it had little governance across the entire organization. So on their 5-level scale, we were not even quite a 2. Even though we had pockets of great things going on. So we've developed a roadmap for the next 2 years to really bump up our level of analytics maturity, and that includes taking an inventory of our data sources, putting in place a governance structure, identifying our analytic needs, and then lastly, not firstly, possibly an analytics platform. Yeah,
and having worked with a lot of different school districts around the country, I would say this is really one of the first times that I've really heard of an organization going to that level to do that sort of gap assessment, to sort of baseline where you're at, and then ultimately to put together that roadmap to where you want to be.
Yeah, there's a tremendous opportunity for school districts, not only on the academic side, but also on the operational and business side for analytics.
Yeah, and I would even think that there might even be some predictive analytics in terms of the engagement of students and maybe predictors of success, so that there might be areas where, hey, you can see based on this data where maybe we can bring additional resources to foster the type of outcomes that we want.
Absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you. Can you speak to the impact and benefit you're seeing from your use of technology to really boost the experience of the customer, which in this case is really mostly the student, but maybe the parent as well?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll speak to that because our primary customer is our students. So boosting the student experience over the past few years technology has had a big play in that. So kids don't have to lose their homework anymore because a lot of it's online. They can work on their homework and turn in assignments from the school bus or from grandma's house or from wherever they are. People touch their phones an average of 80 times a day. So if we're not leveraging that to communicate to our students about school type issues, then we're really missing the opportunity. So that tremendously boosts their experience at school. Also, students who don't have access to technology at home, being able to provide that access to technology at school is really boosting their experience so that when they leave us after high school, they know they have the digital skills they need for life in this age.
Right, yeah, it really is becoming the center of universe for those school-age children, and there obviously are some challenges that come with that, but obviously a lot of opportunity in terms of the way that we can have engagement and learning and things that you and I certainly didn't have the opportunity for.
That's right.
So, well, wonderful. I would like to thank Sarah for joining us today, and for those listening to the interview. To learn more, go to ComSpark.tech.